Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot leg. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below.
So today, I'm going to be showing you how to replace your alternator in your Ford Escape. This is a 2002 model. Now, they say you want to remove your axle and possibly even some of your exhaust to get that alternator out. I'm going to show you how to do that without doing that. We're going to skip that step and we're going to bring it up from the top instead of out through the bottom, out through that wheel well area. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay guys, here's some of the tools you'll need for today's project. We have a 32-ounce hammer, a 10mm, 13mm, 13mm, combination wrenches. I have 2 ratchetings and a regular 13 and a ratcheting combination wrench there in 13mm. We also have an extended 3/8 ratchet, a regular 3/8 ratchet. We have an 8, 10, 10, and 13mm sockets. We have 2 10s, a deep well and a shallow, and then your shallow 8 and 13mm socket, and then a long flathead screwdriver. We also have a pair of pliers, a pair of side cutters or dikes. A magnet is also helpful. We have a breaker bar, 19mm socket, and of course you'll need a jack and jack stands as well. You also need some zip ties there. We have a flashlight, which is going to be really useful. Another flathead screwdriver, and then this custom little made diagram here, which will be showed later on in today's video. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and begin today's project. Now, before we begin today's project, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and take a 13mm combination wrench and loosen up this negative battery terminal. And then, you're just going to go ahead and wiggle them and pull them off. We want the battery disconnected for today's project. Okay guys, now the first thing we're going to want to do here is disconnect these 2 electrical connectors. And this one here, I've already got them undone. You can see I pulled them out there. And basically, you have the male piece that slides into, this is the female piece right here. And you have a plastic piece right here. It's supposed to lock it into place. And what you're going to do is take a flathead screwdriver, stick it right down there in the center, like so, with a flathead screwdriver. Right there, you're going to push. And then with your other hand, you're going to be holding it kind of like I'm holding it right here. So you're going to be holding it with in your palm of your hand, and then the other piece you'll be holding with this, and then kind of pull back at the same time. So you're going to be pushing and then pulling. You can do it with 2 hands there. So that's the way you'll go about disconnecting the electrical connector. Just make sure to get both of them. There's one sitting right there as well, because we need those guys out of our way. Okay, now the next thing we have to do here is we got to remove this green looking connector right here that you just saw me have there, and I'm going to try and put my hand on it. I'm going to try and show you what I'm doing at the same time. And you can see I've got my left hand on there. Now where I'm putting my thumb right now, there's a little channel, and it kind of looks like that other electrical connector, and you're going to stick a flathead screwdriver in that channel and then pull, and ta-da, I've done it. I already did the undoing of that locking piece and sitting down in the channel. So you can see there, it looks like it's kind of still connected, but that's only because it's sitting on top there. So you need to get those 2 connectors undone right there. And again, it's similar to that other electrical connector I showed you, but just take your left hand and then flathead screwdriver with your right hand. Okay guys, and the next challenge we have here is we've got to remove our wiring harness. It's going to be, if you look at your ECM guy right here and you follow him down, we're going to find that there's a plastic encasing the wires, and that plastic piece there holding that big wire harness is going to be held in by what I believe is 3 8mm nuts. Now, I'm going to show you where to remove these guys. Now, the first one we've got is going to be right beyond this piece right here. And there's going to be an 8mm. Let's see if I can get to it here. Okay, it looks like I can't fit the camera to show you exactly where it's at, but you see this bolt right here where my finger is at. Directly beyond right here, I'm actually touching the stud right now. There's an 8mm nut sitting right there. You need to remove that 8mm nut, and that's part of where it's mounted there. We also have 2 more nuts that I'm going to show you. So we'll take a look over here. Now, our next nut is going to be directly below that one. So we're just going to take a look here. We're going to zoom in. And you may... There we go. After I brighten up our view a little bit, you can see right at the end of my finger there's a nut sitting there. So I'm going to back off and I'll darken our picture up a little bit again and see if we can't see where we found that nut. And let's see. Sorry guys, I'm really trying to work with my camera here. We got, okay, so we're looking right here, and down below, that's where we saw them there, but right now it's looking like the black abyss. So those are the two nuts on the right side, or driver's side of the car here. It would be left side actually, but yeah. So, but we're looking to the right here. You're gonna find your two nuts sitting right there. Now we've also got one sitting right back behind here. Again, that's holding that plastic wiring harness case, and we need to kind of get that out of our way. Alright, so now I'm gonna make my best attempt to show you that other nut that needs to be removed. We're gonna zoom in here, and you can see the end of the stud sitting right there. I'm gonna stick my finger right on the end of it. Right at the end of my finger, that's the stud. So you're gonna get your extension, an 8mm socket on that nut, and remove that one as well. Now I'm pretty sure that's all the nuts. We'll find out here in just a moment, and I'll tell you if you have any more nuts to remove, and then I'll show you what it looks like once you get that wiring harness out of your way. Now, once you've got those nuts that are holding your harness on, you can go ahead and grab a hold of your harness and kind of pull them up off of the studs there. So you'll get that guy out of your way. And the next thing we'll do here is we're gonna work on unmounting your ECM. You got an 8mm bolt there and there. We're gonna pull this guy off and set them off to the side. Okay guys, so now I'm just gonna take off these two 8mm bolts, and I'm gonna pull this guy out of the way. And guys, you can reach, there's a tab under here, you can kind of reach and it'll help get you out there, it'll help pull them off. So now we're just going to kind of pull them here out of our way. And there we go. Now we can kind of get this guy off and out of our way and out to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this hose connector right here, or this hose clamp rather, and I'm going to kind of get him out of my way. And we're going to remove this. And this is the hose that goes to your brake booster. And there we go. I'm going to pull him off, and then I'm going to kind of set him out of the way off to the side as well. Now we're going to get ready to remove this little plastic box looking thing right here. So the next thing we're going to do here guys is we're going to come right into here, and you can see there's a hose disconnected. You're going to want to disconnect the hose right over here. You're just going to kind of pull and twist, and that'll come right off there. Then we're going to follow this guy around, and we're going to disconnect him as well. And it's going to be the same sort of thing. He's going to be stuck on the end of here somewhere, and you're just going to twist and pull, and you'll get those two vacuum hoses disconnected. Then we've got two 10mm nuts sitting right below our little plastic box here, and they're 10mm nuts, and you can see I've got an extension sitting there on one of them, and the other one, that's the bottom left one. There's a top right one. So remove those two 10mm nuts, and then we'll go about pulling this plastic piece right off there. And guys, the setup I used to get those two nuts off, ignore these two pieces right here, this is really some nonsense. Basically an inch or 2 inch extension will kind of do the same thing. An inch extension will work, and a deep well 10mm socket. That's the setup, and then a ratchet on the end. But that's how I got those two 10mm nuts off, going to that plastic box. Now, once you've got your two nuts off, we're just going to reach in here, and we should just be able to pull this guy right off of there, and we'll be able to pull him out of our way. And you can see we've got 1 and 2 pieces there where it sits on over those studs, and the nuts are holding them on. So now we'll just head our guy off here to the side. Okay guys, the next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and lift your car on the passenger side. With your jack, you'll find a nice body piece under there. We can zoom on sitting. And then just set your jack stand under there. And then to remove your wheel, you can take a flathead screwdriver, remove your center cap, and then you have 19mm lug nuts holding your wheel on. Remove those and take your wheel off. Okay guys, now the next thing you're going to do here is, you're seeing the guts of everything, but you have a plastic dust shield that's going to be blocking that. So I believe it's 10mm bolts you got to remove. There's like one here, and There'll be one sitting right here, and I think there's one up over there too. And you'll want to just move your plastic shield out of the way so you can see stuff a whole lot better. You can see your alternator sitting over there. And next what we'll want to do is remove our alternator belt, or actually our drive belt or serpentine belt. We've got just one for everything. And what we got here is a 3/8 drive square hole. You're going to put a big 3/8 drive socket on there, then you're going to spin it. It's either going to be right or left. I'm guessing it's going to be left, yeah. That would make this pulley move that way. We want to make the pulley move that way, whichever way you'd have to spin it to do that. And that'll loosen up so we can pull our belt off. So go ahead and do that. Again, you'll just take a ratchet and stick it in there and turn it to move this pulley. This pulley is spring loaded, so when you move it, it's gonna spring that way, and that will allow you to remove your belt. We're gonna have to do that in order to take our alternator off and put our new one on. Okay guys, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get the shield that's right where my hand's at. It's going to be this guy right here. You're going to want to get him out of your way. Now how you're going to go about doing that is you're going to come over to this side, and from here you should be able to see him, and right up against, let's see if I can get my finger back there, right up against here you'll see he's there. And what you'll do is you'll take a flathead screwdriver, stick them where my finger's at, because there's plastic hold down guys. They're sticking through there, and then down below just a little bit. So you'll take your flathead screwdriver and pry off so you can get that plastic shield out of the way. And then it's also going to be fastened back down in here as well. It's going to be hooked up to a stud, but it can really stay on that stud. You just need to get the two plastic connectors, just one there and one up there. You just need to get those pried off, and then you can kind of pull it to my left and then push up and out of your way so you can get a ratchet and socket there. And again, this is after you've already removed your serpentine belt, and you can probably get away with just pulling the serpentine belt off the alternator. Don't remove it completely. And yeah, so that's where we're at now. We've got that plastic shield out of our way, and we've got our alternator belt out of the way. Now, here next, I'm gonna show you how to remove the two alternator mounting bolts that we're gonna find down below. Okay guys, so here is our two mounting bolts, and we've got one right here where you see my finger, and then one on the other side. Now this one's not too hard to get to. By the way, they're both 13mm bolt heads, but this one's not a tough one to get to. It's the one on the other side. Now, how I went about doing that was I came through where I showed you you had to get rid of that plastic shield with this long ratchet. You're gonna need a long-handed ratchet. And with my left hand, I kind of set it up, and you can reach through here and you can set your socket and extension. I have a 2-inch extension, by the way. You can set that up on that further back bolt with your left hand, and then come through with your right hand, grab onto it, and then once you've got it positioned right, then you can pull your left hand out, and then you can pull up, because by pulling up you're going to be going lefty-loosey, and then you'll be able to break it loose. And then once it's loose enough, you can just take the extension and socket and get back there with your hand and just twist it off like a screwdriver. So that's how you're going to get that hard one off. And if you can get that one off, it's going to be much simpler to get the other one. I was able to show you the one closer to you off. So that's how you're going to go about removing those two 13mm bolts holding the bottom of your alternator in. Okay guys, now once you've got the two bolts coming up there into the alternator out, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lower your jack. You're going to want to take your jack stand out from under it. Then be really careful and lower your jack and make sure the car is going really slow. And once it gets pretty close to the ground, go ahead and stop it. So that way you can come over here to the top, and it'll be really easy for you to lean down in here and start working down in here, because we got a 13mm bolt that's sitting up in there like that. We got to remove that bolt. And we also have an electrical connector and a wire that has a nut on the end of it. So we're gonna have to remove that nut and that wire, and then we're gonna have to disconnect the connector for the electrical connector. And then once we get that bolt out, in theory here, our alternator should be free. There may be a bracket that we may also have to remove. And here, I'm gonna show you what the alternator looks like outside of the car so we have a good idea of what's going on here. So when we're looking at them here, we were underneath there and we came and we got two bolts there sitting there like that. It's the two holes you see there. Now we're gonna have that bolt coming right up through there, which should be a 13mm bolt as well. Now you're not gonna be able to see what I'm gonna do next, but because it's just hidden so well, but you have an electrical connector right here, and you've got a 10mm nut right here that you have to remove. So you're gonna have to feel down in there, feel it, get your 10mm socket on there, remove that nut, and then there'll be a wire here. You'll just be able to pull it off. And then here you've got your electrical connector. It's gonna be sitting there. You're gonna have to squeeze with 2 fingers there, push down on that, squeeze and pull, and then remove that. Then we'll be able to remove the alternator and put your new one back in theory here. So here in just a moment, we'll see what our next step is gonna be.